finding in my practice, the patients I'm seeing with diabetes is loss of eyesight, blindness, loss of limb, a leg or foot, amputation, erectile dysfunction, hypertension, kidney failure, heart attack, and stroke. And diabetes has a friend. It's called obesity and a cousin called hypertension. This is the true epidemic in the black church. I teach my students the sickest place on Sunday at 12 noon is the black church. The diabetes, the hypertension, the obesity. I'm here to bring to you some good news. We got something called seed nutrition. Seed nutrition. Go back to the seed. I teach a course called Therapy Systems, something I created. It talks about that the seed of disease, the seed of diabetes, is lack of sweetness ancestrally. That diabetes is 87% thought and 13% nutrition. You will learn as you watch us, people who are diabetic for 6.5 years, taking blood sugar 400 to 600, 6.5 years, A1C 13 to 18.2, very, very high, 6.5 years, taking metformin twice a day, plus glucophage twice a day, plus insulin once a day, and the blood sugar stayed at 400 to 600, and the A1C stayed 13 to 18 for 6.5 years. When she learned the true seed of her diabetes was the thought of lack of sweetness, the thought of lack of sweetness, of being slavery ancestral, the thought. You're going to hear testimony. She took something called a Vincent vibration water and addressed the thought, the seed of her diabetes. Overnight, her blood sugar went down to 89 without medication, overnight, off of all medications. We have some seed nutrition that we used that people are getting rid of diabetes in 2 weeks. So please join us, follow us, and learn how to change your life. I'm excited about my next guest on the phone. His name is Casey. He's the owner of the Seed Company, which you've heard about for diabetes, you heard about for weight loss, you heard about for lupus, you heard about for arthritis, you heard about for cancer. Hey, Casey, tell us about the seed nutrition without telling the name of the products for us, please. I want to kind of draw them in and have them follow us. You don't mind, Casey?
Yeah, no problem, Doctor. Appreciate the time that you've allowed me to join you. I'm excited to be able to share a little bit about what we're doing. And as you said, our focus is seed-based nutrition. That's the gist of what we do. Our concentration is that, and we've found some of the best seeds that are around the world that give us the nutrients that our bodies need. And as you know, living in today's world with a lot of fast foods, preservatives, issues with allergies, I mean, you see it more and more, it's kind of baffling when you start talking about all the things that are plaguing society from a nutritional standpoint. We found a lot of great solutions working with seeds and seed technology, and it really just boils back down to the diet and getting our bodies what our bodies need. As you know, our bodies are designed to heal themselves, to take care of themselves, and do what it needs to do to survive. It's been that way from the beginning of time. But when you don't eat right and you don't have the right nutrition in the right concentrations, all those things that you just rattled off happen. And it's just a direct reflection of bad habits, and really a lot of times it's not even necessarily bad habits, it's just people just don't know what they don't know. But that's what we do here at our companies. We focus on providing seed-based nutrition, dense concentration of nutrients, so our bodies can do, what they need to do. And our main focus is a seed called black cumin seed. And if you guys don't know about this, you need to go on and check it out. Go do some homework tonight. Google black cumin seed and read about what benefits come from the use of black cumin seed. But one of the biggest things that we see with black cumin is the reduction of inflammation in the cell. One of our products, we did a study on it, and it has black cumin seed, the entire seed. We actually grabbed the seed and put it through a cold press process to not damage the enzymes and the important pieces that are found only in the seed husk. But we took that particular product to a lab to evaluate what it was doing for people with, dealing with different things with inflammation. Some of those things, Doc, like you mentioned. And the results came back, and they were awesome. They came back and showed that this particular flagship product that we have will reduce inflammation by 33% with zero toxicity in the cell. Now, when you talk to a medical professional about that, they're kind of like, come on, what are you talking about here? Because they understand that pretty much, if not all, disease comes from too much cellular inflammation. And so if we can get rid of that and reduce that, crazy things happen for people. I mean, my own family, my mom was dealing with arthritis. She got on this particular product, used it for 3 weeks, called me on the phone one day and says, hey, what is this thing that you're actually doing? And we talked for a little bit, and she explained to me how she'd had arthritis, and I didn't even know it. But her pain went away, and the inflammation on her wrist was gone. She had big bumps on her wrist, from arthritis, and it was gone. And that was my own family. That was kind of like one of the first experiences that I had with it. But there's been now since tens of thousands of people around the globe that have been on this particular product that are seeing amazing results. There's, our company is in 46 countries now and continuing to expand, and it's just because people need this. They need seed-based nutrition.
Hey, Casey, I had called you, Casey, with a fellow on the phone with diabetes, and you told us about a fellow in Mexico with diabetes. Can you please tell us about that, please, you don't mind?
Yeah, so it's probably been 2.5 years ago, I was down in Mexico City, one of the countries that we're open in. We were doing an event, and I met a gentleman who was there, and they said, you got to hear this guy's story. And so we were doing the meeting. We invited him up in front of everybody, and he started to tell his story. Gentleman's name is Martin, and he had before and after pictures up that he had on a slideshow, and was showing us what had happened to him. Now, he is a person who is suffering from diabetes, and as many of you guys know, it's one of those horrible diseases that they're really calling it a true pandemic down in Mexico right now, because there's so many people, not only just that have diabetes but are dying from it. And this particular gentleman, had diabetes. It was severe. In his feet had gone to the point where they were extremely swollen. One of them had a great big ulcer that had opened up on his foot. And when you get to that point, really that's where you lose a limb, or they'll cut away whatever toe or foot or whatever's affected. That's usually where people start losing extremities, and that was the case for Martin. He went to 3 different doctors, and all 3 of them had the same prognosis, saying, hey, we gotta take this foot, or you're going to be in jeopardy for the rest of yourself. So when you hear that kind of news, obviously that's probably the worst thing that anyone could hear. And his daughter got online and was looking around for things, and came across this particular product that we're talking about, has black cumin seed in it, and said, hey, we really don't have anything to lose. Let's give this a shot. People are saying that it's helping. And so they did. They bought a box of this particular product, had it shipped to their home, and he got on it and was taking just one packet a day of this particular product. And before you know it, is about 2 weeks into the process, and he started noticing that his coloration in his foot, the circulation was starting to get better. About 3 weeks into the process, they noticed that the ulcer started to kind of shrink up, and it was looking like it was healing. When I met him, it was about 7 weeks into the process. He was wearing his shoe, and he was telling me that was the first time in almost a year that he'd had a shoe on. He'd had to walk around without, because his feet were so inflamed and swollen from the diabetes that he couldn't even put a shoe on. But when I saw him, he was walking around fine. He said he used to, he was using a cane for most of the time, and he didn't have his cane, and he was super excited and happy, and he was sharing us, that experience. But the reality is what happened to him is he just got rid of inflammation in his body, and that's what diabetes is. It's an inflammatory problem that can be fixed. It does. You don't have to sit around and wait and just continue to use insulin and try to just manage it. You can actually turn it around by eating right and getting the right nutrition into your body. It's phenomenal, and that was just one case. I mean, there's been thousands of those around the globe now that we've seen.
In Casey, usually when a person call me with a condition, I call you. I had on one of my business partners with diabetes, and you told them to take the Seed Nutrition, what to take, but take it twice a day. And when you told them that in 2 weeks, he'd be off of metformin in 2 weeks, I got nervous. I said, 2 weeks? 2 weeks, I got nervous. And he did it, and I get a phone call on day 10. Doc, it's gone. I said, what's gone? I couldn't believe it, Casey. I couldn't believe it. So what you're saying that we have the answer through the Seed Nutrition for diabetes, Casey?
Yeah, I mean, well, like you said, I mean, obviously when we talk about these things, it's a little bit of a fine line because we don't treat, diagnose, or cure, obviously. But the reality is here's what I found is when your body has what it needs, things change, and it is, diabetes just happens to be one of those things that this particular seed really works well on. And then there's the cool thing about this is there's a ton of research and studies that have been done outside of our company, just with doctors and other labs that have looked at the power of seed nutrition, and there's patents that exist around this. So yeah, it does make people a little bit nervous because usually a nutritional product isn't going to have those types of rapid effects. But in this particular case, it does. It just works. People get back on track and they start feeling better, and kind of the rest is history. It really is a lot of fun to watch. I mean, it's a blessing, honestly. I think is probably the best way to describe it, where we've got solutions for people that are in need. And again, it's not that these are miracle products or that they're going to cure all the time, but the reality is you get on it, your body knows what to do with dense concentration of nutrition, and it just kind of makes sense. I mean, I think a lot of us already know this, even when we were kids. When we start playing around and they have us put the little bean inside of a Dixie cup with a little dirt, and we water it and it grows, right? Well, all of the nutrition that we have that is whole and clean and vegan and natural, like what everyone's looking for, it all stems from the seed. But the cool thing about the seed is science has shown that there's massive concentration, like we've been discussing, but 20 to 30 times more concentration gram for gram than the fruit and vegetable that these seeds represent. So using the seed, it's just better. There's kind of no really other way to explain it. It's a better way. It's a better process. It's a concentrated process, and when you get that into your body does what it needs to do. So
now,
yeah,
Casey,
a lot of cool stuff.
And after going through that with the diabetes, I had confidence in the product because this is all seed nutrition case was all new to me. This is new. I do the juice, the leaf, the oil, but never the seed. New to me. I get a phone call from someone that had cancer. So I call you on the phone, and you told about a fellow that had cancer of the brain. We don't cure cancer, folks, of the brain. And you told me, tell her what to do. What to do. And so we won't give out the website now for all these 30,000 testimonies. But Casey, and we just interviewed her on this site, on this platform, how she had the cancer that killed that Steve Jobs and Aretha Franklin, and what we gave her, which is Eat Nutrition, and the platform that I gave her, 33 days, they can find it. Like another thing, Casey, two more things. I have a neighbor and a friend, a single mom, that has MS, and having young kids, could barely walk and barely move and all that, and I called you. You said we have testimonies of people taking this nutrition with MS. You even sent me a video of a lady with MS. And we put her on the seed nutrition, Casey. And like a week or so later, her 12-year-old son asked Mom, are you okay? Why? You got up and cooked dinners for us for the first time in years. In years, Casey, on the seed nutrition. And then she went bowling with her kids, getting her life back. Now, Casey, we're in a pandemic called COVID-19, and we got that black cumin seed, we got that turmeric, we got something made with greens that we take in a packet. How many green smoothies does that one packet cover, Casey?
Yeah, well, the one that you're talking about has the equivalency between, depending obviously on what kind of green smoothies you're doing, but usually it's about 7 to even 8 green smoothies in a 1 ounce packet. It's that concentrated with some ingredients that people they call superfoods. Things like kale and spirulina and the phenomenal ingredients that are in there. But there's also a few seeds that are unbelievable. I don't know if much of you guys know about milk thistle seed, but it's super powerful for detoxifying and cleansing the liver. In fact, over in Taiwan, it's considered a drug. It works so well. So you actually have to have a prescription in Taiwan to take milk thistle seed.
Wow.
Who knew? So, but yeah, that's in that particular product, as well as cranberry seed, which is great for kidney support. So yeah, cool, awesome, great products that really they do. It's like what you just said, Doc. It gives us our life back. It gives us the options again. People that are dealing with these things, they don't need to, but you've got to get the nutrition into your body so your body can take care of itself and do what it needs to do.
You know what? I take these products, Casey, as my health insurance. To ensure that I'm going to have good health. As my health insurance, Casey.
Yeah.
And Casey...
Well, that's the smart way to do it, Doc. I mean, I think a lot of times, as we've been in this industry, people that have spent a lot of time in nutrition or in the world of health, I mean, that's usually what happens. People kind of, instead of prevent, they wait, right? They wait until the doctor says, okay, now you've got diabetes, or now you've got to take this particular, drug the rest of your life, which then creates other side effects, as we know. But there is option. There's options. There's things that you can do so you do not have to have that. You can prevent a lot of the things that others are going to go through and face. And I don't think we've seen have scratched the surface on what's going to come. I think we're in trouble. Like you talked about the other day, we were talking about this pandemic and the things that are going around on the world and the issues with logistics, supply chain, and people are going to have some issues. We've got
I have a good friend, Casey, that called me and he learned about the seed nutrition with diabetes. He couldn't get his insulin for 2 months. And finally, he ordered the seed nutrition. Hey, Casey, what are the products, Casey? People are worried about a food shortage. And that green smoothie, Casey, I got to be honest, I don't take it every day because why? I'm not hungry. I forget to eat. It fills me up. One product fills me up.
Yeah.
One product.
Yeah.
Now, the last thing, Casey, we in this pandemic, in my opinion, that if you have one thing in your body increase drastically, can help you beat this pandemic. It's called vitamin D. And you created a vitamin D out of seed nutrition, Casey. It's made out of sheepskin. Out of seed nutrition, Casey. And added with tomato seed. Tell us about that, Casey, you don't mind.
Yeah, no, this is a brand new product that came out in September. We were fortunate enough and have the good fortune to work with the University of Maryland on this particular one. They do a lot of our research and development, and they're just a great group to have behind the scenes here helping us with this. But yeah, we created a vitamin D3 supplement that has, and it comes from reindeer lichen. If you want to go look up that, it's a pretty interesting little thing that is grown up in the Arctic. But this reindeer lichen, it's completely vegan source, which is not normal. Normally, like you said, Doc, vitamin D3 is derived from some sort of an animal byproduct, which obviously, as we know, that can cause inflammation in and of itself if you take too much of it. And most of the time, too, when people take vitamin D3, the digestive system has the tendency to really just break it down and not absorb it. It just passes kind of through your system. So even people that are taking vitamin D3 supplements don't have like optimal levels of D3 in their blood when you do an analysis and take it to the lab. So it really is, this is a particular interesting product. As you mentioned, it's got that particular the reindeer lichen, but you mentioned the tomato seed oil that's in it as well, which is phenomenal for boosting the immune system. And it's super powerful antioxidant that's also in here. But this is cool product. It's been micronized, and so the absorption rates that this has compared to others, it's really kind of uncomparable. It really is such a good product because it does absorb into the system. It's a little spray. You squirt it in your mouth. You can take it a couple of times a day if you want. We've got people that have done morning and night. There's people that the recommended dosage is just kind of take a few of sprays in the morning. But yeah, it's unbelievable what we've seen with the results. We ran a study prior to launching the product. We put 14 people on it, and in every case, everyone's vitamin D levels increased. And we showed this to a few doctors, and they were floored. They're like, if you can even increase it a little bit, you're doing well.
And Casey, I'm finding people, Casey, that I know personally, numbers going up 50 or 60 points in 2 weeks. That's unheard of. Unheard of.
Yeah. Well, that's a direct result of the micronization. They're actually, for the first time, getting the absorption the way that they should. And think about what that does for people, Doc. I mean, as you know, having vitamin D in your body is an essential component to a lot of the functions of the different systems. It's not just a system. It's, the immune system is one that you think of, but a lot of different systems are dependent upon good levels of vitamin D. And then you think of people that, with depression and things like that going on in today's world. But this is a great thing to put into your blood, into your diet, so you can start to feel like yourself again. I mean, really, that's kind of the best way to describe it.
And I want everybody to hear our voice to go research Dr. Fauci, what he said about vitamin D, research vitamin D and COVID-19, how they're saying that if it's high enough, you can't get sick from the disease. If you get sick, you won't feel the symptoms of COVID-19 high enough. And in my opinion, there's no vitamin D in the world like this one, Casey. None of them like this one.
No.
Hey, Casey, now let's talk about side effects of these products. Casey, my hair grow back so fast, my nails back so fast, and I don't like going to the barber shop, Casey, once a week. Once a week. Cutting my nails once a week. And also, Casey, we have people with very bad psoriasis and eczema, skin conditions. We got one product, you rub it on the skin, it has a black cumin seeds in it. What does it do for psoriasis and eczema, Casey?
Well, yeah, well, it's kind of the same thing. It's all back to that same issue. Psoriasis, eczema, what are they? It's an inflammatory issue. And when you get rid of it, you start to decrease the inflammation. You see it in your skin. You can put it on topically, but I tell people to do both. You should be taking it internally and putting it on topically, and it just increases those effects.
They're going to be amazed, Casey, amazed in a couple of weeks what's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, no, it's shocking. It really is shocking. I mean,
yes.
You talk to dermatologists, and they don't really have a lot of good options for psoriasis. It's one of those things they're like, well, that's too bad for you, that you've got that, but that's not the case. There's ways to get around that, to get that fixed, and people can become healthy and really get their life back. I watched, I've met a woman over in Japan, and this is kind of one of the first. It's kind of been down there. I mean, it was probably 4 or 5 years into this process when I met them. I went over to Japan, and I was sitting in an apartment complex with her and a couple of her friends and another gentleman and our translator, and they were telling me a story about her 14-year-old son that had severe psoriasis, and they showed me pictures of him. I mean, when you go on and Google it, look at severe psoriasis on the face, and then you'll know what I'm talking about. But wow, they showed me these pictures, and I just felt terrible for the kid. And they'd taken him to all kinds of dermatologists. It wasn't a question about finances. They went everywhere. I mean, they had give him steroid creams and shots and everything you could think of to try to get that situation reversed, and nothing worked. And then, again, a lady found this online, saw some people down in Malaysia that were having some success by using this particular product. Their eczema and psoriasis was disappearing, and so she said, hey, give this a shot. Called her friend, said, you need to get on this product, get your son on this product, try it out. So they did. About 2.5 weeks on it, he came home, and the first time as a teenager, he was going to go out and hang out with his friends. He wasn't wearing a hoodie covering his face and his head, because your skin it falls off. It's just nasty. And for the first time, he was headed out to play with his friends, and his mom, obviously, you tell him the story, was crying, and we were all crying. And I mean, you think about that. I mean, we're talking about a young 14-year-old boy got his life back. He actually was going to be able to live a normal life because of the power of seed-based nutrition. And so I tell people, this is really bigger than me. It's bigger than really anyone. It's bigger than all of us. There's solutions out here, and we have the obligation to let people know that there's solutions. They don't need to suffer. They don't need to have to deal with these things. You can fix it. And Power of Seeds is unbelievable for that.
And Casey, a lot of the black church is going to hear this. In the black church, the diabetes, we talked about that. In the black church, the hypertension. We're getting people, Casey, blood pressures 190 over 100. In 2 weeks, Casey, down to 120 over 68 with the seed nutrition. In the black church, we talked about ED already. Women with hot flashes, history with the seed nutrition. Women with menstrual cramps, history, seed nutrition. In the black church, the glaucoma, the cataracts. We're going to talk about that the next caller, cataracts, the seed nutrition. So Casey, I want the black church to understand. I take these products because why? This is my health insurance plan. Because why? We pay our car insurance, right, Casey? To make
Absolutely.
Sure if our car breaks down, we get it fixed. This is my health insurance plan to keep my body fixed in balance. Casey, I want to thank
Yep.
you, Casey, and I'm so excited that the Lord hooked us up together, because I would have never known. I did the CBD oils, I did the capsules, I did the leaf, I did the juices, I did it all, Casey, as a doctor. But I never even considered going to the seed. 30 times more potent, I mean powerful. So I wanted the black church to hear this, Casey, because I tell my students the sickest place on Sunday is a black church. Not the hospital, the black church. Thank you, Casey. Thanks a lot.
No problem. Well, I appreciate the invite. And yeah, guys, give it a shot. There's nothing like it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, bye now.
All right.
Hi, my name is Dr. Michael Vincent. I'm here to discuss the true epidemic in the black church, which is diabetes and obesity. What I'm finding in my practice, the patients I'm seeing with diabetes, is loss of eyesight, blindness, loss of limb, a leg or foot, amputation, erectile dysfunction, hypertension, kidney failure, heart attack and stroke. And diabetes has a friend. It's called obesity, and a cousin called hypertension. This is the true epidemic in the black church. I teach my students the sickest place on Sunday at 12 noon is the black church. The diabetes, the hypertension, the obesity. I'm here to bring to you some good news. We got something called seed nutrition. Seed nutrition. Go back to the seed. I teach a course called Therapy Systems, something I created. It talks about that the seed of disease, the seed of diabetes, is lack of sweetness ancestrally. That diabetes is 87% thought and 13% nutrition. You will learn as you watch us, people who are diabetic for 6.5 years, taking blood sugar 400 to 600, 6.5 years, A1C 13 to 18.2, very, very high, 6.5 years, taking metformin twice a day, plus glucophage twice a day, plus insulin once a day, and the blood sugar stayed at 400 to 600, and the A1C stayed 13 to 18 for 6.5 years. When she learned the true seed of her diabetes was the thought of lack of sweetness, the thought of lack of sweetness, of being slavery ancestral, the thought. You're gonna hear testimony. She took something called a Vincent vibration water and addressed the thought, the seed of her diabetes. Overnight, her blood sugar went down to 89 without medication, overnight, off of all medications. We have some seed nutrition that we used that people are getting rid of diabetes in 2 weeks. So please join us, follow us, and learn how to change your life.
Everyone wants to be healthy, and we should be. Our Creator designed an amazing, complex system intended to allow our body to heal itself if we give it what it needs. For example, if you cut your finger, it bleeds, a scab forms, and it heals. However, when our body does not receive what it needs, it begins to talk to us. It talks to us through symptoms or physical manifestations of disease. So, if your body is talking to you, you need to listen to Dr. Michael Vincent. Start your wellness journey today. Visit Dr. Vincent's website at www.vincentclinic.com or dial toll-free 888-842-3935 or 888-84-BEWELL. Be well.
I'm Dr. Michael Vincent. I'm so happy that you tuned in. I am a Navy veteran. I have another veteran on the phone, and I want to share some good information with you, especially you veterans. Hey, Lawrence,
Yes, sir.
I met you on July 8th.
Yes.
I heard about you before I met you, that you was in and out of the hospital via ambulance every other day for the month of May.
Yes.
What's going on with you the month of May?
Well, when I was in the Marine Corps, I ran the gas chamber. The CS gas got in my system. It affected my bones. It started deteriorating my bones to the point where my 3 lower discs, L4, 5, and 6, started compressing on the nerves, which was extremely painful. In the month of May, I went to the hospital approximately every other day. They would give me fentanyl in the ambulance, a shot of Dilaudid, Percocet, and morphine once I got into the emergency room. And this is every other day, as I stated, in the month of May. On June 8th, I got a phone call. I talked to you, Dr. Vincent, and as you went through this process with me, I listened to what you said. I didn't say anything because you told me not to speak. I didn't do anything. You told me not to move, just sit in my wheelchair. I was actually bound to the wheelchair up until that point.
For how many months?
I was in the wheelchair for about 4 months.
So you could only do things from the wheelchair for 4 months because of your back pain. Well, go ahead.
Yes. The wheelchair was next to the bed. I transferred from the wheelchair to the toilet, right next to the toilet. I even had it in the shower with me before I got a shower chair. I didn't go anywhere. I didn't do anything because I had to have the wheelchair with me continuously. At that point, when you started the process over the phone, within a minute, at first you asked me what was my pain level. I believe I told you it was a 7. And I was on hydrocodone, oxycodone, tramadol, 500 milligrams Tylenol. And also I was taking 5% lidocaine patches. And I was on that medication 3 times a day, sometimes 4. So I was taking well over 3,000 milligrams of medication a day. After you finished, within a minute, you asked me what was my pain level. I told you I didn't know. Let me see. Not thinking that it was going to make a difference, I stood up. Didn't feel any pain. I pushed the chair back and I walked around my apartment for the first time in months. Didn't feel any pain. I even bent over and touched the ground. Didn't feel any pain. Went and sat back in the chair, twisted to the left, to the right, bent over to the left and the right. Still didn't feel any pain to this day. That wheelchair, I'm not going to claim it, is now in storage, and I've been walking ever since.
Now, how many doctors have you seen before you met me?
Over the years, I can say almost 20. I can say that definitely.
And have you seen any neurologists, any neurosurgeons?
I've had neurosurgeons. I've seen quite a few neurosurgeons. I can't even tell you how many. It's been so many. And I've had neurosurgeons tell me at Alexian Brothers Hospital, the VA, 2 of them at the VA, one even at Rush Copley, one at Edward Hospital in Naperville. They told me it was nothing that they could do. Nothing they could do.
So now, let's say that you saw over 20 doctors with average 12 years of education, 240
Yes.
years, and I didn't treat you. I had a student who took an hour class from me the day before, a student.
Yes.
And I called her. I said, he's in a wheelchair. You help him with what you taught yesterday.
Yes.
And within a minute, she learned the technique called therapy system the day before. Within a minute, in a wheelchair, you saw over 20 doctors, neurosurgeons, chiropractors over the last years. Somebody had a 1 hour training on how to take care of back pain the day before over the phone, and within 1 minute, he was out of the wheelchair.
Yes.
Wasn't that amazing?
Also, I had acupuncture. I've had lidocaine shots in my back for months, twice a week, 20 shots a week. None of it worked. None of it.
Now, would you let the folks tell the folks that's listening to our conversation to contact us to learn this technique to get rid of their pain?
I would implore them to do it. It should be mandatory, not only for their pain, but if they know anyone that's in pain, especially a loved one, a mother, a father, or a grandmother, even any other relative,
How about a
regardless
veteran?
of what their issue is.
How about the veterans out there dealing with pain?
Oh, especially veterans, because at the VA hospital, as with a lot of hospitals, nothing against physicians, but they address the symptoms, not the problem.
And when I told you that your back pain is fear in your bladder and lack of support in your life, the thought of that, and you thought like, this is nuts. And then when it was gone in a minute, you thought, oh my goodness. What did you think was going through your mind after it was gone, after having it for almost, 20 years, it was gone in a minute?
After it was gone, quite honestly, I felt like a child at a magic show. How did you do that? What just happened? Wait a minute, hold it. I started twisting, maybe trying to find the pain again, because I know it can't be gone that quick. Too many professionals have tried this. I don't know who this guy is. I've never even seen his face. How did he do this? So it's something that if I don't really see how anyone could have anyone in their life that they care about that's in pain and they refuse to take this class. I can't understand it.
I want to thank you, Lawrence, and I wanted you to on here because I'm a veteran and you're a veteran, and we do wonderful things with folks with PTSD
Yes.
and with pain, and I want the veterans to understand that we may have hope for them, because pretty much you did everything that you're supposed to do medically. The doctors, you did it, but you were still in pain, and when you decided to do something different, it was gone in minutes. I want to thank you,
Yes.
Lawrence, and you are a true hero to me, folks, and I want you to hear, as a veteran, that there's hope for your condition. Lawrence, thank you, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Everyone wants to be healthy, and we should be. Our Creator designed an amazing, complex system intended to allow our body to heal itself if we give it what it needs. For example, if you cut your finger, it bleeds, a scab forms, and it heals. However, when our body does not receive what it needs, it begins to talk to us. It talks to us through symptoms or physical manifestations of disease. So, if your body is talking to you, you need to listen to Dr. Michael Vincent. Start your wellness journey today. Visit Dr. Vincent's website at www.vincentclinic.com or dial toll-free 888-842-3935 or 888-84-BEWELL. Be well.
I have a special guest with me today, Sylvia Hood. I met her in 2018 on a cane in one of my meetings in Detroit, and I asked her a question, do you want to get rid of that cane? She said, of course I do. And she told me that she just left Houston, Texas, her 50th anniversary for her sorority, had to rent a scooter for 2 weeks to get around, on the cane for 3 years, had off the cane in about 3 or 4 minutes, and she said, start walking around the room very happy without the cane. She said, doctor, if you're this good, follow me home. I have an issue with gastric reflux disease. How bad was that issue with your stomach, Sylvia, for how long?
I have had an issue with reflux, acid reflux, I would say since I was probably 18, graduating out of high school.
50 years?
Yeah, well, that's, yeah, that would be about accurate. Maybe a few more.
And what were you taking daily for it?
Oh, well, you name anything from over the counter, Dr. Vincent. I was taking acid reflux,
Antacids?
antacids, all of the, you name it, any brand of antacids I had all over my house and my car. I would keep them in each room of the house so that I could get to them quickly. I had them in my purse. I mean, I
In
was
your car?
everywhere. I was making sure that I could get relief and get it as fast as I possibly could. So anything that was over the counter, that was in the pharmacies that they said was good for acid indigestion, I had purchased it.
Wow. So go back to your meet you on the cane. How long you on the cane?
Well, I was on a cane, Dr. Vincent, I would say since 2006. Yes, I was hit by a drunken driver. I was on the passenger side of the car. And it left me with a broken collarbone, 3 broken ribs, and a broken foot, all on the right side of the body. And I'm right-handed. That was a real problem for me, not being able to use the right side of my body. Well, after about a few months, the collarbone healed, and so did the ribs and the foot. But I could not take this right arm and move it any more than 2 inches away from the side of my body. That was a problem, because needless to say, I couldn't do my hair.
Brush your teeth?
I could, oh, well, that was difficult too. But my personal care, I had to rely on my husband and others. And after about, so many weeks after it healed, the collarbone healed, I started physical therapy. And I had really good health insurance. And so usually you only get like 8 weeks of therapy, but they gave me 8 months. So after 8 months of physical therapy, I was able to go from just doing this here to being able to raise my arm out to a 90-degree angle to the side of my body. And physical therapy said, you know what, you've had 8 months, usually you get 8 weeks, that's as good as it's gonna get. You'll never be able to raise it any higher than that, or rotate it in a circular motion.
So it was stuck there from 2006 to, we met you 2018. And the day we met you that day, we had a pharmacist there that day. We had that medical intern there that day. And we had someone who did occupational therapy that day. That's their area at Frozen Shoulders. And she said it's stuck for life. But it was stuck for life according to them, right?
It was stuck for life according to the physical therapist and my doctor. And but I wasn't satisfied with what they told me, so I decided I'm gonna go and have surgery.
Okay, what happened?
So I ended up having 2 rotator cuff shoulder surgeries. The first one was a laser surgery where they just went in and kind of scraped some of the calcification off of the bone. It didn't do any good. I went back for another surgery later where they actually cut the shoulder open, shaved away some of the bone to make a wider,
Bone off?
yes, to make a wider opening between the joint so that it could rotate. Did no good. So I decided, hey, I'm happy with 90 degrees. And I was happy with it until I met you. And I suffered with it for 12 years. I met you.
And I asked you a question.
And you asked me that question.
Do you want a full range of motion? And the MD said you're nuts. And the pharmacist said you're nuts.
Right.
And the OT said it's frozen for life.
That's right.
And I went to the back of the room. I said, follow me, pat your hip and follow me. And in 3 minutes, what happened, Sylvia?
After 3 minutes, I was able to take this arm for the first time, raise it straight up above my head, rotate it in a 360-degree circular motion without any discomfort. And I hadn't been able to do that for 12 years, but thanks to you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks to you, Dr. Vincent, and your therapy technique, your therapy system technique, I am still able to
raise it.
rotate it
Pain-free.
and raise it,
Comb your
just
hair.
like I can do my other arms,
Yeah.
and take care of my personal care as well as all my other activities that I'm used to engaging in.
And it's the thing, the Lord will show you things. I had a person a year before you that I met who was a Tuskegee Airman. He could only go this far. And he said that in 1969, I was in the war, I got shut down, and I ejected out of the plane, and I hit the plane as I ejected out of the plane, and I was in Walter Reed Hospital for 1 year. I was all broken to pieces, and I ended up with this shoulder after a year of physical therapy could only move this far. Since 1969. In class, in 5 minutes, he was saluting me. It was amazing. He was in tears, I was in tears. So God showed me before I met you.
Well, I've been truly blessed by that.
Yeah, I met you. So now, Sylvia, we also are here to discuss some seed nutrition. And we was in people getting issues with diabetes, with weight loss, with hypertension and pain, the seed nutrition. What do you think about the seed nutrition, Sylvia?
I think it's the most awesome thing on the planet. And Dr. Vincent, I have gotten rid of a lot of issues since I've met you. You talked about how I got rid of acid reflux. I got rid of the frozen shoulder. And
You look at more thinner also. You got
and I did lose weight too, yes.
Yes.
But, you know, I want to keep it that way. And so maintenance is very important to me. I don't want to wait until I get another issue. I want to stop it in its tracks before it comes and greets me. And so what seed nutrition does for me is it allows me to have a maintenance plan to keep my body in balance.
But isn't it amazing that we're drinking the juice, the noni juice, all the fruit juices, we're taking the moringa, the CBD oils, we're taking the leaf, the plant, the root. I never, as a doctor, considered taking the seed, taking what made that, and it's up to 30 times more powerful. Isn't that a higher consciousness awareness? I thought, what? Isn't it amazing, these great seed products, what it's doing for people we love and care about?
It is just totally awesome, Dr. Vincent.
I mean, I have people with skin conditions for years taking it internally and rubbing it on their skin. I have women put it on their faces and call it a facelift in a bottle. So what's going in and helping you to control the diabetes, control the blood sugar, control the weight, put it on your skin and look younger? Isn't that a twofold?
Who wouldn't want that?
Wow. So would you recommend that people that hear our voice, the church folks, the church full of diabetes, hypertension, obesity, the hot flashes, the women with the hot flashes. I don't know what a hot flash feels like. I'm a man. The women say it's horrible. Just imagine the hot flashes. Also the menstrual cramps. Men with ED. I have a swollen prostate from the Flint water crisis. And I had it for 7 years. I took doses, my first packet of it. I thought, what in the heck did you give me? I felt my body relax, feel normal again. So would you recommend the people that hear our voice now to follow us, take the seed product, learn what you did to get rid of your frozen shoulder, and I want to teach you as a senior. Your background is an educator, right?
That's correct.
And to teach this technique to other seniors having knee pain, frozen shoulders, back pain, carpal tunnel, arthritis. We have women who are nurses, can't pick up their own grandbabies, arthritis. In 30 days, pick them up. Have you ever seen anything in your life like this?
I have never, ever seen anything like the seed products, nor have I ever seen anything like your Thotopy system technique.
From the shoulder, yeah. Yeah.
And I would say that yes, we definitely want to be able to help as many people as we can with this knowledge of the products as well as the technique. Why? Because we don't have to be sick. We don't have to be unhealthy if we give our body what it needs.
And also, you did me a favor by allowing folks who want to get treated this technique to go to our site, you follow me, and press, I want to be treated, you follow me? May not be from me. I got students trained like you, I want to thank you, Miss Hood, and you looking great.
And I feel great, Dr. Vincent.
Oh.
I'm just very thankful
Okay.
for all that has come my way in the way of health, in the way of the products,
Oh, yeah.
as well as in the way of the technique that you have allowed me to partake from. Thank you, Dr.
I want to
Vincent.
thank you, Queen.
Everyone wants to be healthy, and we should be. Our creator designed an amazing, complex system intended to allow our body to heal itself if we give it what it needs. For example, if you cut your finger, it bleeds, a scab forms, and it heals. However, when our body does not receive what it needs, it begins to talk to us. It talks to us through symptoms or physical manifestations of disease. So, if your body is talking to you, you need to listen to Dr. Michael Vincent. Start your wellness journey today. Visit Dr. Vincent's website at www.vincentclinic.com or dial toll-free 888-842-3935 or 888-84-BEWELL. Be well.
Have another caller on the line. Her name is Kathy. She brought her newborn granddaughter with me that was born with a problem with her neck. Kathy, tell us about your granddaughter, what was going on with her when you brought her to me.
My granddaughter was born with, I think it's called torticollis. It was her neck only went to one way, really bad, like a severe neck to one side. And I brought my daughter came down to see Dr. Vincent, and Dr. Vincent worked on the mother. He just worked on the mother for maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and, he just was very sweet, and the little girl just sat off the side. And we brought her home, and 3 days later, her neck straightened completely up, and she's never had another problem with her neck. She never had to go to therapy. It was like an extreme miracle. Yep.
Now, Kathy, you were one of my students, and you heard of the testimonies of my treating fella that's on Facebook, a 4-year-old fella with autism. We treated his parents, and 3 months later, a normal kid. So you never treat a kid under 6 and under. You treat the parent. So we treated the mother. In the 3 days, the kid's neck deformity was normal. Right, Kathy?
Yeah, that's true. It's just like a miracle.
This is called Thotopy Systems. I teach this technique. Kathy, you called me one day very concerned. I hear it in your voice about your son. Tell us about your son. What happened?
Yes, my son was riding a bicycle, a mountain bike in Stony Creek Park, and he flew over the handlebars and hit his head, the top of his head, into a boulder. Very, very hard. So hard that he broke C7 and T5. And the hospital called and said, come up, your son's been in a bad accident. They said, any friend who wants to come to see him can come see him. Because I don't think they thought he was going to make it because it was such a bad hit to the head. Well, in the meantime, I just called Dr. Vincent on the phone because he was one of my first people I called. And I said, I didn't even know what happened. They just said it was a bad bike accident. And then when I got there, he was lucid and he was talking and he was in a lot of pain. And then he completely healed. He had like a 3-hour thing to sew up the top of his head because it was so badly smashed and broke, bad. But he only had to wear like a little brace on his neck for 8 weeks for preventative. But he never had really any headaches or brain trouble or having to walk again. Nothing. He was perfectly healed. In 8 weeks, he's completely healed.
Now, his friends also had an accident in the same area of their neck. What happened to his friends?
Well, my girlfriend's friend, her son had an accident at T5, the same number. He's paralyzed. He's paralyzed from the waist down from his small little accident, So it's just it's just a miracle. I think everything, if you put your faith in God, it works. Something happens wonderful.
Now, we were on a Clubhouse last week, and you know that we do a therapy system that you can help anybody in the world to put their body back in balance, like I did your son, I did your granddaughter, back in balance. On Clubhouse last week, you said you had a cough the night before and you thought you were dying.
Yep.
Last week.
And now, I had like severe congestion in the neck. I couldn't even catch my breath from the phlegm in my throat and down in my chest. And then my daughter had the same symptoms. She, everybody at her work had it. It was really bad. So this is the worst cold we've ever had in our lives. And I called Dr. Vincent. He worked on me, and my daughter and I both got way better. We didn't ever have to have any more real treatment.
And we did this over Clubhouse, and it took 3 or 4 minutes. You went from a 9 down to a 0 on Clubhouse, correct?
Yeah.
You can treat anybody through anybody, and you can send energy, folks, like sending a prayer anywhere on the planet. I want to thank you, Kathy, and thank you for being one of my most senior students. And Kathy,
thank you.
Kathy,
I'm so lucky to have you in my life. That's what I say.
And we're here, Kathy, promoting that seed nutrition, the seed nutrition. And I'm sharing with you the diabetes, the weight loss, the hypertension, the seed nutrition. And Kathy, I want them to follow us, to get trained. I want to have you help, as a senior citizen, train other senior citizens how to get rid of neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, hip pain with this technique. I want to thank you, Kathy, and it's a blessing to have you as a student and a friend. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you.
Okay, thanks so much. All right, bye-bye.
What I'm finding in my practice, the patients I'm seeing with diabetes is loss of eyesight, blindness, loss of limb, a leg or foot, amputation, erectile dysfunction, hypertension, kidney failure, heart attack, and stroke. And diabetes has a friend. It's called obesity, and a cousin called hypertension. This is the true epidemic in the black church. I teach my students the sickest place on Sunday at 12 noon is the black church. The diabetes, the hypertension, the obesity. I'm here to bring to you some good news. We got something called seed nutrition. Seed nutrition. Go back to the seed. I teach a course called Therapy Systems, something I created. It talks about that the seed of disease, the seed of diabetes, is lack of sweetness ancestrally. That diabetes is 87% thought and 13% nutrition. You will learn as you watch us, people who are diabetic for 6.5 years, taking blood sugar 400 to 600, 6.5 years, A1C 13 to 18.2, very, very high, 6.5 years, taking metformin twice a day, plus glucophage twice a day, plus insulin once a day, and the blood sugar stayed at 400 to 600, and the A1C stayed 13 to 18 for 6.5 years. When she learned the true seed of her diabetes was the thought of lack of sweetness, the thought of lack of sweetness, of being slavery, ancestral, the thought. You're going to hear testimony. She took something called a Vincent vibration water and addressed the thought, the seed of her diabetes. Overnight, her blood sugar went down to 89 without medication overnight, off of all medications. We have some seed nutrition that we used that people are getting rid of diabetes in 2 weeks. So please join us, follow us, and learn how to change